Hi guys, and welcome back. This week I did a podcast for the Renegades, and it was really interesting how the conversation developed actually into our inner circle and making sure that it was conducive to us achieving what we needed to achieve and getting the right advice. And I posed a question that are the people around you, they can either be like a sail or they can be like an anchor. So the people that you surround yourselves can elevate you, or they can be destructive. They can be positive, or they can be negative. And it's so important to have the proper circle around you from when you're making decisions and as a business owner. We've all got kids, I'm sure. A lot of us have got kids. And we're always really worried about the peer groups they hang around with, the people they hang around with. Because it doesn't matter how good your parent it is, if they get in with the wrong crowd, then you tend to find that you're right up against it. They're easily led, by their peer group and the pressure they have from there. And the advice that you get from that group of people that surround yourself with is so important. And, one of the reason why From Job to Business is here is because I had a massive business failure in 2007, and the inner circle thing is really clearly demonstrated in 2007 for me. I always thought, prior to when I lost my business and had that catastrophic business failure, that I had a decent network around me. I had a strong inner circle around me. I'd spent my life growing up in and around the golf club. A lot of different people from different walks of life, made people, people that had grown a business, have been very successful, bank managers, solicitors, lawyers, estate agents. They were all there. And I surrounded myself with these kind of people. And actually what I found was when, I spent a long time building up a reputation, which I lost in about 2 seconds when I made a phone call saying I couldn't afford to pay my bills. And the people that I thought that were my inner circle, actually, they weren't there to serve me, they were there to serve themselves. And I was dropped like a rock. And that was a big, big learning curve for me. And I started, and at the time, because I didn't have the inner circle that I have now, and because I didn't know about that kind of thing, it took me 2 years to get back on my feet. Whereas if I'd had the counsel and the advice and the mentorship of the people that I surround myself with now, I could have fast-tracked that to 2 months, I think. And a great example of that is one of the guys in the Renegade process. He's a member of the Renegade group. And when I first met Paul, he was going through a really similar time that I had in 2007. He was on the verge of losing the business. It was insolvent. He had a lot of problems, a lot of debt, and he was having a really bad time. And he had to subsequently liquidate that business and put it through. And he struggled with that on a personal and a professional level. But because he surrounded himself with the right people, within 6 months, in 2 months he was back up and running. Within 6 months he'd paid off all the old debt and the business is flying. Because he had the right guidance and advice around him of people that only wanted to support him in his dreams, his visions and his goals. And I think if you don't have that network or infrastructure, these people that can surround yourself with, they're just not serving you, and you have to be intentional about that inner circle. That's really important. You've got to be intentional. But that doesn't mean cutting everybody off from the people that you've been grown up with. I got some great friends, but I don't necessarily mean I will take their counsel or ask them advice about how I run my business, or if I've got a particular issue in work, what I would do with that, because they're not qualified to do so. My mum and dad are the great thing. My sister, I love them to bits and they love me, and I've got a great upbringing, loads of support. But if I went to my mum and dad and talked about I want to set up on my own, be an entrepreneur, business owner, they wouldn't know, because my father was in the police force, my mother worked in the bank for 40 years. So they don't know anything about running a business, so why would I seek that advice based on the advice will only come from a place of keeping me safe? And being a business owner is a massive risk. So to understand that is quite difficult, and I get that. But you just jumping away from a job and going into business, it was a risk. Hello, it's a risk. Will I pay the bills? You don't know. So it's a massive risk. But you really have to be intentional about the people that you surround yourself with. And the question I always ask is, the question that someone always said to me, or the statement that someone said to me was, you are the average of the 5 people you spend the most time with. Well, when you think about that, who are the 5 people that you surround yourself with? Write them down. Put the names down. Is it your wife, your mum, your dad, your kids, your mate that you were in school with? I don't know who it will be. I don't know. It could be whoever it is for you. Put them on the list. Now, where are they working? What do they earn? What are their aspirations in life? Are they there? Are they a sale? So when you start, can they give you momentum? When you put your sale up, do they give you momentum? Or are they, when you start getting a bit of momentum, are they like throwing an anchor in over the side and then they drag you back, or they slow you down? Are they positive people or are they negative people? These are the things that you've got to ask yourself about the people that you're asking the advice from. And that's why it's so important to surround yourself with the right people and be intentional about it. I can't stress enough, this was a massive thing for me. And, I talked about it on the Renegades podcast this week, which is available on 729renegades.com. Check out the podcast with myself and Dave Dean. And we talked a lot about that. And, the way to come back from it is to surround yourself with good people. If the old saying of, if you're not if you're the smartest person in the room, you're in the wrong room. And you've got to move, you've got to shift, you've got to be comfortable with getting uncomfortable. And that's what it's all about. Ask yourself those questions though about your 5 people, about your inner circle. I think it's really important. Are they elevating you, or are they taking the wind from your sails? Are they the anchor that's holding you back? And you've got to be brutal about that, because some of the people that are on that list are going to be mums, dads, people that brought you up, people that you went to school with. Is the advice they're giving you good, with your best intentions at heart, or is it toxic, coming from a jealousy place? Only you will know that. But write those 5 people down and look at how you can ensure you're getting the right advice and support that you need in your inner circle. It's really, really important. Take it easy. See you next time.